Hello, everybody. Welcome to Profiling Evil Live by Mike King. It's great to have you join. It's my lunch hour, so I thought I'd slip in. And you know what? I want to talk a little bit about Suzanne Morphew in this week leading up to Mother's Day. But without further ado, I want to bring in a special guest, Miss Lauren Scharf from Fox 21. And the back office, Lauren says, I have to start figuring out how to use this fancy equipment that they gave me. So it's so good to see you. How have you been?
I like the sound effects. That's awesome.
Yeah, well,
that's a surprise.
Ever evolving. That's me.
Oh, that's cool.
How you doing, Lauren?
I'm good. It's been a crazy couple of days, and we're almost there to the 1-year anniversary of her disappearance. Can't believe it's been a year, but then I can at the same time.
Yeah, I guess that's the frustrating thing isn't it? Is that, you can't believe it's gone that quickly. And yet, man, so much has happened in a year and so many people have broadcast this thing. Shout out to Chris last night. I think he was over in Indiana and he had a nice video about some of the things he's doing there. All the YouTubers are pushing things out. You had some great interviews just in the last week. I can't remember the name of the reporter, but you had a reporter colleague of yours. I think she's the one that covered the Dante Lucas murder trial, wasn't she?
Yeah, her name's Amber Jo Cooper, and she was one of the first reporters to go to Salida. And I thought, hey, let's just bring on someone else that has a different perspective that kind of was there from the get-go. I didn't start covering Suzanne's case. I mean, I covered the very first press release, but then I didn't get to go to Salida until they started digging at that County Road 105 property east of Salida. So.
Yeah, and she's a go-getter as a reporter as well. Reminds me a lot of you. I really enjoyed her work on Kelsey Schelling's case, and I think the thing that I keep talking a lot about is I'm so pumped up about this new district attorney, Linda Stanley, in the region, and the courage that it takes for a prosecutor to file a circumstantial criminal case. We don't have a body, and I keep thinking about Suzanne, and I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. But Amber, right? Amber Jo. Mm-hmm. Amber did a great job covering that. I know she was doing some YouTube lives at night talking about the case each day. But if you remember that case very well, it's actually a community that Linda Stanley, the DA, was a prosecutor in many years ago. And they had the courage to go forward and put on a murder case without a body. And I think it is a reminder to killers out there that think they've gotten away with it, that they got to keep looking over their shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't believe that finally came to a court, jury trial, because it was so long, and finally it did. And I know that Kelsey Schelling's mom is still looking for her, even though, that trial was over, but she's still wanting answers as to where her loved one is.
Yeah. And we all hope for that. I mean, we hope that they'll be able to recover her. Well, I want to kind of shift right over and talk about Suzanne Morphew and the fact that we now are approaching this 1-year anniversary date. Last week, I did a number of things on this. I don't know if you caught, I had an attorney on where we revisited the conservatorship challenges over the sale of the home, how that happened and was able to be accomplished, some of the goofy omissions that were in those documents and in the Hope Foundation document. And folks, if you haven't watched that, go back to last week and watch that video. But I was really looking forward to how things went at the Vigil on Friday night. But before the Vigil was held, you uncovered some kind of interesting things that I wanted to give you credit for and have you talk a little bit about this. Can you talk about this little medallion and statue that showed up at a very unique location last week?
Yeah, so I was sent a video by Danny Donovan where he was in and around where Suzanne's bike was recovered, off of County Road 225 and Highway 50. And it was a statue of, looked like a little girl. And then there was a little medallion, and it said, in loving memory, or in memory of a loving mother. And that was it. It didn't say Suzanne or anything on there or who it was by. So then I started asking questions to my contacts in Salida. And I did hear back from a family friend of Barry and the girls, and they told me that yes, Barry and the girls did in fact put that there. And I had already learned prior to that that statue actually was Suzanne's, and it was actually inherited by her mother, who had passed away in 2013. Suzanne got it after she passed away, and it was something that was very special to Suzanne. She actually had it outside of her house, off of Puma Path, and it was just something that made her remember her mom. And I did a quick little video about that. It talks on my YouTube channel. It talks more about kind of where that statue was at Suzanne Morphew's mother's house in Indiana, and how special it was to her, as well as, you know, her brother and sisters.
Um, I find that really interesting, and that we're going to probably see a lot of speculation about, but the timing obviously is very interesting, and it's such a nice tribute and a reminder. And there were also some other things going on in the area there. This one I found kind of interesting too. Can you talk about this?
Yeah, so the easiest way to get to where that statue is kind of near this tree off, and it's on the corner it's just right around the corner before you go over the bridge where the creek is. I saw a brand new ribbon that kind of stood out to me, and it was the turquoise and yellow. And then also right above it is, it looked like someone marked M&M, and many people have told me that's Mallory and Macy marking that tree. But I haven't talked to the girls to confirm if that was actually them that did that. But those ribbons, definitely, it wasn't like they had been there for over a year, like many of the other ribbons had been in that area that had been faded. Those were brand new. And so it's the easiest way to get to where that statue is from the road. And that's what I saw.
So that's interesting. So as you're going up Highway 50, you would take basically a south onto the dirt road, and it kind of swings to the north, and then comes back to the south again before it crosses over the creek bed. And it's right there that you saw that. That's really neat. Folks, I'm talking to Lauren Scharf of Fox 21. We're talking about the vigils that were held this weekend, some of the events leading up to this 1-year anniversary with Suzanne. And I want to take a minute, Lauren, and just thank our mods who have jumped in with, I never give any notice, and so I can't believe they even continue to listen to my dribbling and babbles. But I really appreciate all of them taking time. And folks, if you have some questions, I'm going to try to take a moment to answer some questions at the end. And Lauren, I hope you would, if you can answer a few things as we go through. But let's go on a little bit further. So on Friday, it was Suzanne's birthday, and there was a little vigil held in the area, but it wasn't right in downtown Salida. Where was this held?
Yeah, so this was at the Pancha Springs Visitor Center, and I believe that's where a lot of the searchers back in September met. And it's free to anyone, any public. I contacted Pancha Springs to make sure, it was happening and everything, and they were, yep, it's on, and there was a group of ladies who are, that organized this, and their names, I have to give them shout outs. Tisha Leeway, Dita Wilson, and Carla Abrams. They're the ones who kind of got this together. People donated this bench. It was about $800, and they haven't figured out exactly where they're going to place it. They're still working with the city and county to figure out where is the best place for this bench. But on it says #ShineBright for Suzanne. Beautiful. There's, 2 little butterflies in the yellow and teal colors. And there's those balloons there. And during the ceremony, during the event, we did a quick, release of the balloons. And it was really touching. A lot of people even cried during that time. We played a couple of songs that Melinda Mormon, who is Suzanne's older sister, who actually they share the same birthday.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah. And so she had sent me kind of a statement to read, and she wanted me to play 3 songs. And the 3 songs were Dancing with Angels by Monk and Neagle. And then also No One Ever Cared for Me Like Jesus by Stephanie Getzinger. And the 3rd song, which we released the balloons, was Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Catherine McPhee. And so there was, quite a group there. And some people even drove by and watched in their cars if they didn't want to get out. But it was great to see a community like this. A lot of people weren't even people from Salida. They were coming from Denver and coming from Steamboat and all over the state to come to this event.
Oh, that's great. Now, my understanding was, of course, that there were no family members on either side in this particular event. There were some mystery sightings of people driving by, but none that were family. So that's kind of interesting. I just think hats off to these 3 women who took donations and used them for what the intent was. I mean, I think about Andy and his GoFundMe page and the fact that he directed the money toward this search effort. And we were really honored to play a role in that. But I'm still troubled. Have you been able to do any research at all into the other GoFundMe page that continues to get donations? Why, I don't know. And yet I've never seen the numbers reduce, suggesting that there's been any payouts to help with any kind of search efforts.
Yeah, that's still a mystery. That's very interesting. I know there's been people here in Colorado that have reached out to the AG's office, even the district attorney, just to ask, what's going on with this GoFundMe. There's people, thousands of people who have donated that don't know what did that money really go to. So.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if it's fair to ask my local superstar reporter, but is that something that any reporter is happening to look into a little deeper?
Yeah, I am looking into that. You're like fishing, and yes, I am.
Fishing is what I do.
Yes, you're good at it.
Let's go east to Indiana Sunday night. Well, in fact, you know what? I want to ask you one other question, Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a couple of emails from people Friday night after we did our last little video, and then over the weekend I had a couple of emails from folks who were troubled by the number of people that showed up in Salida, and there were some who suggested that the community itself may not have been fully aware, and that happens whenever you do something like this. But other questions were that they are just frustrated, keep waiting that something might happen with law enforcement, and that they know that Suzanne's missing, but to get down there on a Friday night was difficult. What are your thoughts about the numbers that showed?
Well, I mean, it was a beautiful night. I mean, weather was not an excuse for people not to go. But I mean, I know the organizers put out flyers. They contacted me. I put out an article for both events. And I think it's a Friday night again. When I was in town before the event, I was asking people who I knew cared about, Suzanne, if they were going to come tonight, and they didn't know. So I don't know if maybe the word didn't get out. I know that Alexandria, they had a little blurb in their newspaper. I'm not sure if the Mountain Mail had that. I do know that Mountain Mail was at the event and reported about the event. So I'm not sure. Like I said, there were some people that just kind of drove around the parking lot and watched. And so we didn't count those people. Obviously, in the live video, you couldn't see some of that. But I also know that there were people that were asking us, hey, how can we watch this if we want to just do it from home? And how can we watch this if people are in Indiana and they want to watch? And so I know there were a lot of viewers that were watching it from my live stream on my YouTube channel. So
Yeah, and I know that there were actually, I think Dusty Draper showed up with a drone. I don't know. I think at some point some video will come out. I'm sure that there will be some Facebook pages that pop up some imagery. Folks, if you haven't been to Lauren's YouTube page, please jump over there and sub to her page. She has from last weekend, Suzanne Morphew birthday celebration video, and a great place for you to see some video of what's happening there and the kind remarks from the pastor that showed up, and seeing people that were there. That was great. A couple of questions here that I thought maybe the timing would be right on. I'm going to go back and just make sure because I don't have my glasses on and my pride apparently gets in the way.
Also at the event, real quick, they gave out these prayers for Suzanne bracelets, which was really cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Camilla Jurgensen asked if Suzanne had been found, and Camilla, the answer is no, she has not been found yet that we're aware of. Someone else asked, let's see, Missy T asked Lauren, did any of the Morphews turn up?
No, not that I saw, but I do know that they were in town. So they did not show up. I do know that the organizers asked them if they would like to write a letter for someone at the event to read, but I don't believe they did send a letter because that wasn't read at the event.
Okay. But you actually had some comments that Melinda sent that you were able to read off, which is really nice, that the Mormon side of the house continues to at least be a little more visible than we see from the Morphew side of the house, which is interesting.
I do know that also that the girls and Barry had private memorials for themselves. So.
Oh, and how did that happen and where? I mean, what do you know about that?
That's all I know. That's kind of all the information I could get, but that they did hold a couple of memorials and private, celebrations for her birthday and things like that.
Okay. Now, Sunday night, last night in Indiana, they actually dedicated a bench in Suzanne's memory, and they had a pretty nice group of people there. You also had some connections so that you were getting kind of a lot of live information. What can you tell us about last night's event?
Yeah, so the organizers of that event were high school friends of Suzanne, and they had little gift bags for people that, had, matches, I believe, for like Shine Bright for Suzanne, and, there was even root beer from Jean's root beer stand. And there was also these pillowcases that had Suzanne's, a picture of Suzanne and some other things, but people could sign. And I'm not sure exactly where those pillows will go, if it's going to go to the families or what, but they also had, prayer, and people talked about Suzanne, and just to kind of bring awareness again that she's still missing, and that you want to bring closure for the family, and that community in Alexandria where she grew up is still very much thinking of Suzanne and wanting to have answers for the families.
Yeah. Lauren, Stephen Lundgren is asking, and I frankly don't know the answer as of today. Do you know if the daughters or Barry have an attorney still on detainer?
I don't know that. I don't know if they ever did have an attorney on retainer. I don't know that answer.
Yeah. And of course, here's a biggie always. Jane Kowak Triboletti is wondering why she can't figure out how to make donations. So Jane, I can't help you. I wish I could, but maybe somebody can email you or help you offline and help you get through that. Now, from Matt Block, he says, when will the sheriff's office or DA Stanley give a public update on progress? And maybe you could talk to anything you might know on that, and then I can maybe share some thoughts.
Yeah, so I've wondered the same thing. It's been a year almost. We're a week away from it being a year, and we've only heard publicly from the sheriff one time in a press conference. And so I have already reached out to both the sheriff's office as well as the DA and CBI, FBI, wondering, is there going to be a press conference at the 1 year anniversary? I'm still waiting to hear back. I'll continue to send emails every day until I get an answer from someone out of those offices as to what's going to happen on May 10th, which is next Monday. And then I did hear back from Linda Stanley, and we had some miscommunication with some email issues, but I'm hoping we can do a sit-down interview with her. And I know because of this open investigation, she's not going to be able to say much, but hey, she wants to be transparent, which I think is great. She's new to office. She wants to show me around the courtrooms and her office. So hopefully I can schedule that sometime this week.
Oh, that's great. Matt Block and 12-Step Woman, thank you so much for those kind donations. And Lauren, I'll just add to that I've had numerous, in fact, many conversations with DA Stanley. And as you know, she's been on the show tonight. She will be my guest co-host as we interview the Arizona Majority Whip regarding some legislation for child sexual abuse and mandatory life sentences for child abusers and human traffickers. And of course, we every time Linda and I get together, we talk cold cases and we try to learn a little bit more. But people are like, pulling their hair out that I haven't somehow continued to harass her over the question of when's something going to happen. And bottom line is, not only is it incredibly unprofessional to ask that question, and like you folks, we want to know as badly as you do. It would be absolutely inappropriate for the DA to tip a hand about what's happening in the investigation. This is where we have to have faith that law enforcement is working their tail off on this case and all others, and hopefully they're going to find the information that comes together. Now, will the DA tonight reveal something she hasn't revealed before? I guess people will have to watch and see. And I will say, though, and I'm going to put this up here right now just to kind of tell everybody, make sure you hit choir practice tonight, because not only is it incredibly cool that the DA is coming on to be my co-host, but Representative Biasucci is incredibly talented and good. But I got a secret guest coming on tonight, Lauren, that I can only tell you I have had very few times I've been more excited about a person coming on than the individual that's going to come on tonight with this. But I can't say anything until that person shows up, whoever he or she may be. So how's that for
That's a big cliffhanger. Big teaser there.
Well, there were a couple other questions that I thought would be fun. So what's next for you as you kind of dig into this case and continue to look at it? And how are you balancing between your own YouTube channel and what you do for the station?
Yeah, so it's difficult. People at a celebration of life for Suzanne on Friday were asking me, well, can you put more videos up? And I'm like, if I didn't have a full-time other job, I could put all the videos up, but I'm planning on putting up a video of an interview that I'm going to do, and I might do it live. I'm still kind of debating on that, where a photographer friend of mine who's been with me throughout the whole time kind of interviewing her and seeing her perspective of this whole case, because she's been with me when I interviewed Barry. She's been with me when I interviewed Jeff Puckett and Morgan Gentile and all the characters in this story. And so I think it would be interesting to get her perspective as well, being the person behind the camera, and also kind of, she was there when I first approached Jeffrey Puckett and when I first approached Barry and things like that. So seeing her perspective on that would be interesting. So I'm hoping to interview her. And also I hope to interview Linda Stanley this week. And there'll be some other videos, hopefully, that I can release, and some interviews that I haven't released yet soon.
Oh, that's great. I want to shout out to Alexandra Guzman. Thank you so much. And to Kellyanne Garber, thank you so much. And I don't know if you noticed that earlier one from 12-Step Woman was for my Diet Dr. Pepper habitual prescription habit that I have. So that was so nice to see that.
They have a zero sugar now.
Yeah, but I think that's just, that's completely fake.
Oh.
And yeah, I mean, I go fully knowing what I'm in for. And so, yeah. Anyway, now there was a question here that I thought was kind of interesting. If I can find this again. Oh, yeah, here it is. Well, Patty Cake wants to know what was the outhouse in the photo behind the memorial, but it may have been just an outhouse, Patty. I don't know. Do you know, Lauren?
I don't know. I wish I could have been there to find out, though. I thought the same thing when I first saw it. I didn't know. Maybe it was like a little storage unit for, I think there was like gardens or something there too. So maybe that was it. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a question about where is the family now, and did they sell the house? The house sale does appear, at least on the paperwork I've been able to uncover, that it did go through. The family still appears like they're in the area. For how long, I don't know. Do you have any info on that?
Yeah, I mean, Macy's going to graduate from high school and Mallory's graduating from college in May. So as of right now, I know that they're still in and around that area. As to where they'll be in a couple months, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, Jeff W. Popped up just a comment that made me kind of smile. He said, "My addiction is Grape Crush. Now I've forgotten how good it was." At some point, Jeff, remind me when I'm talking serial child predators, and remind me to tell you a story about Orange Crush soda and how it led to me getting a confession from a serial sexual predator who assaulted more than 500 children, Lauren.
Wow.
And the whole thing boiled down to an
Orange Crush soda.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of fun. Kind of another fun story in the background. Shelby Moulton is embarrassing me and my dimples, but Shelby, thanks so much. That's so kind of you to do that. Lauren, there is still a lot to unfold in this case. And I just, there are relationships that you kind of create in this YouTube environment. And I appreciate the trust that you've had in Profiling Evil and the way in which you do things. I know that we have talked about a lot of things that will never hit the air, about pieces of evidence and other kinds of things. And I just appreciate your integrity and the way in which you handle things.
Well, thank you, Mike. And I know a lot of people trust you with their information as well. So kudos to you for keeping some information, secret, because it could, hurt the investigation. And I think that's the most important part is, yes, there's people that know something and that needs to come forward, but they need to tell people, and they need to tell the right people. They need to tell the law enforcement who's actually working on this case. And if people don't want to go through the tip line, they can send information to me and I'll get it to the right people. And I think that's important for people to know that. I know you would do the same.
That's a great actually segue. Folks, a reminder that if you know something, call the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office. If you're uncomfortable locally, go to the Colorado Bureau of Investigations or the FBI if you need to. If you don't feel like you can trust any of them, I believe you can trust a source like Lauren. Give her a call, or get on and go to Profiling Evil and go to our evidence room where you can submit information and we'll get it in the right hands. Bottom line is, the case shouldn't be solved by YouTubers. It should be solved by law enforcement in a way that is consistent and constructive, so that the prosecution can put forward a case that will put someone away and hold them responsible for Suzanne's disappearance, which I just strongly believe is a homicide. So please continue to do that. Lauren, as I bring up and remind everybody again, tonight choir practice, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, we're gonna have Linda Stanley on. I don't know what happened to Lauren, so the timing might be perfect. Oh, you just lost your video for a second, Lauren. Linda Stanley, the district attorney over this area of Colorado, will be on with me. She'll be my co-host. We'll be talking to the Arizona Majority Whip and an incredibly exciting secret guest. Please make sure you're tuned in and that you're subscribing to Profiling Evil. And Lauren, now my mystery guest. It's dark where you are, but
I don't know what happened.
This is perfect timing. Anything you want to say before we call it a day?
No, I just want to thank everyone that's been very supportive of the Mormons and the Morphew family. As you know, it's been a year and they still don't have the answers yet as to what happened to Suzanne. Just continue to pray for her and, her family and all the investigators that are currently searching for those answers. And hopefully sometime soon we'll know what happened.
That's great. I'm going to ask you one other thing, Lauren, since I got you here. How did you like the book?
Oh my gosh, I loved it.
Did you?
I've given it to my mom to read. And I know that, other family members will want to read it as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't know if you caught a couple of days ago on Profiling Evil, we announced that the proceeds from the book Deceived are now set aside, and we made our first donation to start a building fund for a brand new children's justice center. And we're just so honored to be able to have the funds from the book to be able to go to help children, especially children in domestic violence. We also made a huge donation last week to the Utah Victims' Rights Coalition for training of police officers in child abuse cases. So we feel very honored, and it wouldn't have happened without the victims of this crime. Now I call them survivors, coming forward and sharing their words in a way that helped me put the book together. And without those of you out there who buy the book. So please keep buying it and sharing it with everyone you know. You can get it through Profiling Evil in a hardbound version. You can get it signed if you'd like, or you can go right to Amazon and you can pick up the paperback or the ebook. And I'm told Audible should be there any day now for anyone who's interested in that. So from all of us at Profiling Evil and my dear friend, Miss Lauren Scharf of Fox 21, thanks for taking time out today to be with us. Lauren, thank you one more time, and have a good day, everyone.
Thanks for having me. Oh.